Welcome, everybody. Time for another episode of Sales Pipeline. So grab your board. We're going to catch a wave and see what's the latest in sales pipeline development with Matt Hines. There was no superlative, no adjective, just Matt Hines.
No, you got me thrown off in general. I think, usually we've got this all just dialed in. I think we're working on a little bit of a audio-video challenge this morning, which happens from time to time.
I think so. I don't think it's picking up your mic very good here, but we'll make the best of it here.
All right. Well, I'm going to continue to play with it as we get our great guest today sort of rolling. I'm going to continue to play, see if I can make this sound a little better for everybody. But I appreciate everyone joining us on Sales Pipeline Radio today. You can join us every week at 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 Pacific, right here on Sales Pipeline Radio. You can always catch us at salespipelineradio.com, and you can always catch past episodes at salespipelineradio.com or through our podcast at Google Play or the iTunes Store. Every week we are featuring some of the best in B2B sales and marketing leaders' insights, and today is no exception. Very excited to have with us Daniel Gaugler, who is the CMO at PFL. Those are a lot of acronyms, but I'm going to have him talk a little about what he's working on these days and sort of what is not just a return to direct mail, but the rise of tactile marketing and integrating online and offline channels to increase lead generation and prospect engagement. Daniel, thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Matt. It's a pleasure to be here.
So talk a little bit about, your role and then more importantly, sort of the evolution of PFL and sort of why, you guys are such a champion of, not only better integrated marketing, but, increasing tactile marketing and physical marketing, physical mailers and physical mailing marketing opportunities in today's more digital age.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give a little context on just PFL. So PFL is actually better known maybe as printingforless.com, just in terms of the hundreds of thousands of customers we've served, offering just standard printing services via e-commerce. And we've been around since 1999. We were the first people to do that. But over the years, we've evolved beyond just providing print to really evolving to solutions that really help people get more value out of those interactions with their customers, and that's what we'll talk a little bit today. My role here, I've been at the company for 12 years. I started in customer service and did a variety of different things throughout my path to CMO, but I've been in CMO for about half that time. And today, so it's really evolving our brand, evolving our strategy on how do we really help our customers be successful with tactile marketing and direct mail in a new and different way.
So why is direct mail back? Like, what is it about direct mail that's working well? Is it something different that we're seeing today? Is it what is it that makes it that it's working so well now?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of factors that play into that. So direct mail was kind of a forgotten channel, right? Because I think largely because it was so much easier to move to digital and people were seeing such great results with digital marketing. My career largely was stemmed around digital marketing. Even for a good chunk of that, when I was working at a printing company, we focused really, really heavily on digital marketing. And a big part of that was because it was difficult. It was hard to actually execute a campaign. It was hard to just get it out the door to get your list and all these different details. And whereas doing some digital marketing, sending emails, doing display advertising was kind of a few clicks. It seemed a lot easier, and it seemed like it was lower cost and like we could get more benefit of it because of the number of people. But that was kind of a continuation, I think, of the trend of, you think about television and radio, of mass media marketing, right? Is why we were having such success with digital marketing. It's not that we were great marketers, but it was just because of the pure volume of what we were able to do, and with a somewhat captive audience. And a lot of that's changed today. Thank God we don't have AOL say, "You got mail," every time we get an email, right? Because it would be just on a continuous hum all the time. And so I think, marketers fled from direct mail. We kind of forgot about it as a channel. Our inboxes aren't that full. And now we have a whole new generation of business people who haven't really been exposed to it, but actually really enjoy it, and that's millennials. And there's a bunch of research out there that says how much value how they enjoy checking the mail, they enjoy getting mail, and particularly dimensional components. And then I think
stands out.
the other,
I think that we get so many emails, we get so many digital ads in front of us, and I think a lot of marketers are just that are enamored with the marketing of more, right? It's more emails, more digital, more clicks, more retweets, and maybe aren't doing the math on what it's really worth to get the attention of their most important prospects. Yes, direct mail costs a little more in many cases. Yes, it may take a little more time to get up and execute. But are we worried about more, or are we worried about better? Are we worried about better quality? Do we want responses and metrics and conversions that we can buy a beer with? And I think for me, that's one of the reasons why direct mail is really becoming more involved in marketing programs, especially in strategic account environments.
Absolutely. I can't agree more. I think that connection, that higher impact that people kind of crave too, because the impact of an email or the next banner ad you see today is just not that great to a customer. And so how do you show that you, from a marketer standpoint, that you value a customer's time, and how do you have a little bit higher impact piece? And I think direct mail fulfills that need from both the customer's perspective and from the marketer's perspective. One thing I think also that is just kind of a fun thing for marketers. So as a digital marketer, I really only get to think in 2D. And I know there's augmented reality and virtual reality and stuff that's coming, and that will be another channel that marketers are able to leverage. But in digital marketing, I really get 2D. But when I go to direct mail now, I can do 3D because I don't have to send just a postcard or a letter. I can send a package, things like that. So from a creativity level, it's a lot of fun to work on projects like that too. And we see that from a lot of our customers who just are really excited about the things that they can create now.
And do you tend to see that you're working with marketers that really are sort of making the jump from quantity to quality, that are more focused on sales pipeline contribution and more focused on sales metrics? Is that another reason why they're now looking at direct mail as a tool that can more directly and more precisely achieve those revenue results?
Yeah, absolutely. So being more strategic, how do I reach the people I really want? How do I form a relationship that is of value? It's not just about, if I send 10,000 emails, 20% will open and 1% will click, and that will work. It's about, no, these are the accounts I really want. And then on that kind of more targeted demand, that's also happening with even our more traditional mailers who we might think of, so large B2C companies as well are also really looking at, like, how do I become more focused? And so people who enjoy getting direct mail, who respond to direct mail, who result in a purchase, how do I identify who those folks are? How do I find more people like them? How do I target them as well? And so we're seeing it from people who are just starting to do a strategic account focus, who may have been largely digital marketers, and we're also seeing it from the traditional folks who are the big mailers today move towards this more strategic target approach with direct mail.
So it's one thing to say we have a sort of a strategic approach to our direct mail and are sort of saying direct mail is making a comeback. But one of the things I really like about the approach you're taking is this isn't standalone direct mail programs. Like, you guys are doing a nice job of integrating these with other campaigns and really taking, what has always been an offline channel and making it high tech. Like, talk a little more about what that means for PFL and what you're seeing in the market that's driving success.
Yeah, right. So the reason I think we're having success and our customers are having success with direct mail is not because we think of it as a single channel, because the reality is we don't live in a single channel world, right? We have lots of different things coming out from us, and we don't make a decision to buy or to engage with a company based on a single interaction. And that's what we are really setting out to help marketers understand and be able to do, is to, okay, great, we can have an orchestrated experience across both digital marketing and our offline marketing, and those things can work together. They can use the same sort of message, they can inform each other, and they can just make all of our marketing way more powerful from the consumer and the customer's perspective.
Now, how do you know what's working? I think attribution becomes a bit of a challenge here, and I think when you're doing digital channels, maybe across social versus emails versus targeted sort of online ads, attribution's a little easier. Is it more of a challenge when you integrate the offline channels as well, and how do you sort of solve that problem?
Not really. I mean, I think the biggest problem we have with attribution, particularly in B2B, is we want to give credit to I did this and this is what it resulted in. And as I mentioned before, we don't make a decision on those one things. And so I think we have to look at the interaction or the multiple interactions that lead up to that sale. At PFL, we did our own test pretty extensively on doing a 4-way test of what we call our 4-dimensional campaigns, and that includes email, display, which we include social in, direct mail, and then web personalization. And what we found is when we took any one of those components out of our campaign, the amount of lift we lost was significant. And different channels added different value. But at the end of the day, we're like, we would be silly not to make sure we're doing at least those four things on every single one of our campaigns.
Talking to Daniel Gaugler today, who's the CMO at PFL. You can find him at pfl.com. Before we have to jump to break here in a couple minutes, you guys are based in Bozeman, Montana, which is not always thought of as sort of the hotbed of marketing technology leadership, but you guys have really clearly come on the scene in a big way and created a really unique culture. And as someone who's been there for, I think, 12-plus years, talk a little bit about sort of the advantage of building a company sort of in the middle of God's country, quite frankly. I've been out to where you guys are at. It's amazing. In a couple minutes we got before break, just talk a little bit about sort of what culture and what location has meant for the growth and success of PFL.
So, there comes challenges and opportunities with it. I mean, I think one of the big positives being in Montana is the people, the work ethic, the friendliness, and that comes out, in how we work with our customers. And so we really like that, from a kind of a business perspective. It also drives the kind of business we create and build. And so we are the largest employer in our town, outside of the university and hospital, and so largest private employer. And so that guides a lot of our principles on how we run our business. And so it's a sustainable business. It's not a built to flip or anything like that, because we value the jobs that we create for our local employees and also for the service we provide for our customers. So building that evergreen company, is part of how it's impacted the culture. And we also bring in a little bit of Montana fun. So I'm doing this interview with my dog Daisy in the room, and hopefully you won't hear her, but she's a good dog. So.
Well, Daisy's welcome to join Sales Pipeline Radio anytime. Maybe we'll come up with a question or two. No, I'm kidding. That's not it. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. We got to pay some bills. We'll be right back with more with Daniel, talking about offline marketing, talk about what we have coming up, future episodes. We'll be right back. Sales Pipeline Radio.
Marketers acknowledge that account-based marketing is important, but what does that really mean? ABM requires a deep understanding of your target accounts and the people within its internal buying committee. Are you prepared to launch and drive results from an ABM program in your organization? Get the recording for the Modern Marketers Workshop, ABM, From Strategy to Action and Results. A fully online, on-demand workshop that includes an interactive workbook, the presentation slides, and templates, all for $195. Visit www.heinzmarketing.com/workshops. That's HEINZ marketing.com, and get started now. In a world where the speed of innovation and change in B2B marketing has never been greater, the only thing bigger is the need for clarity, for a blueprint, for a guide to what's really working and how to apply it specifically to increase sales pipeline growth, velocity, and conversion. That's what you'll find in the Modern Marketers Field Guide. Download it free at HeinzMarketing.com.
All right, and after you've done that, rush right back, because Matt's got a lot more with his guest.
Thank you very much, Paul. Well, thanks again, everyone, for joining us for Sales Pipeline Radio. If you are back listening to us live, thank you so much for joining us. If you're listening to us through the podcast, I hope you're enjoying what you see here, what you hear here. If you would like to hear more from Daniel at PFL, you can definitely catch this episode on demand again at salespipelineradio.com in a couple days. And we are here every week at 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 Pacific. In the next couple of weeks, we've got John Hall, who's going to join us to talk about influence, how to get it, earn it, and keep it in B2B sales and marketing. That's next week on Sales Pipeline Radio. Coming up after that, Martin Lidstrom, going to talk about neuromarketing. We've been teasing this for a while, Paul. Whether Martin thinks neuromarketing is going to be the next buzzword in B2B, I can tell you right now I have no idea what that means, but we're going to find out when Martin joins us. Following Martin, we've got some great presentations, great guests, including Grant Cardone, Michael Pickey from HubSpot, Daniel Gaugler from Prezi, going to talk about conversational sales presentations. Lots of great topics on a variety of angles on B2B sales and marketing today. I want to continue our conversation with Daniel Gaugler, who's the CMO at PFL. We're talking about offline marketing, omnichannel marketing, best practices for integrating it with your organization. We've been talking mostly, Daniel, about the sales or the marketing team and how they are using direct mail and integrating direct mail into other channels. How are sales organizations using this, either as they integrate with their marketing organizations, as they're using their CRM and doing their own sort of field sales efforts? What are you seeing the trends there?
Yeah, so I think we've seen salespeople do their own direct mail campaigns, their own marketing for years, and that's one of the things the PFL has set out to try to help fix is, we have a sales person who is packaging up a book that maybe is written by the CEO and writing a note and sending it to someone, or taking some swag items, or maybe it's a printed copy of a white paper, and doing their own kind of, call it guerrilla marketing, account-based marketing. And the problem with that is our salespeople are not spending enough time actually doing selling activities. Right now, they're finding swag, they're writing notes, and they're putting it in a box and taking it down to the post office or a UPS drop-off to get that in the mail. And so one of our solutions connecting with Salesforce, so right from Salesforce, the salesperson is able to get access to all of those assets, from swag to gifts to books to white papers, whatever marketing or the sales organization wants to make available to them. And now they can have the power to choose that item, write a personalized note, and send it, and that gets directly delivered to their prospect. And additionally, when it gets delivered, they also can get some notifications on when it was delivered and that sort of thing, so that they can choose to make their next action item. Some of the cool benefits that salespeople get out of it is, now I know when my package was actually delivered, in addition to the time savings, but we're able to actually do more of it, and they found it as an effective way to speed up sales cycles, a way to get re-engagement from folks that have maybe dropped off the radar. But from a marketing perspective, which I always come back to, I love it because now I actually have an attribution metric or a way to apply something to my swag budget, right? Which has kind of been like an untractable, we just spend money on it because the CEO likes it, or our salespeople like it, kind of line item for marketing. But now I can actually know, what is the performance of that? What am I getting from that? And so that's one of the big changes we're seeing, how sales teams and marketers work together to do direct mail.
Let's talk about a couple of objections people sometimes have for direct mail and offline marketing. I mean, one of them is the price, which we talked a little bit about putting that in context. Another is the timeline. I think a lot of marketers today are, enamored with agile marketing and moving quickly and being able to conceive a program and then execute it quickly through a digital channel. I'm sure you guys hear this on occasion as well, just the lead time it takes for direct mail. Kind of what do you typically talk to clients about, or what do some of your clients that are using direct mail kind of tell their organizations and sales teams when that concern comes up?
Yeah, so my first argument to marketers is that direct mail will make you a better marketer, and that's because it has a real tangible cost. And if you do an expensive bad campaign, it hurts a little more, it stings a little more. The reason it will make you a better marketer is it will make you focus on the fundamentals of marketing, which I think, no offense to digital marketers out there, but we've gotten a little lazy because it's cheap and it was easy to do, and the consequences of it, if something goes wrong, it's easy to fix if you have a misprint or something like that. And so by having the discipline of doing direct mail, it will make all your marketing perform better. So that's one of the things I like to share with marketing teams, and I'm a firm believer in, because we see it in our own marketing efforts here at PFL. So that's an internal reflection as well, that when we want to put something in print, we actually think about our messaging, we think about our audience a lot clearer, because we know that there's a real tangible cost. On the timeline side of things, direct mail and those sorts of projects can move faster than they ever have before. Supply chain is completely changed in the last 10 years or 15 years on how fast you can get stuff. So the biggest holdup on most projects is actually the creative aspect. And then if you think about direct mail in a way that it's not a batch and blast, we want to be doing it data-driven, just as we would nurture emails from our marketing automation platforms, or sales emails from our CRM, and how we can have those as kind of evergreen scripts that we use over again. We can now make them triggered and ongoing, and so it can be incredibly fast. So since the systems, the template is just like your email template is already configured, and we're pulling data in to send that individual piece, we can have something go out the door as quick as, same day very frequently, but most of the time within 24 hours. And it can be in someone's mailbox. Pretty much standard is nationwide within 3 days within North America.
Going to wrapping up here in the next couple of minutes with Daniel Gaugler, the CMO of PFL. Great insights into bringing direct mail back, leveraging it as an asset and a differentiator to get your message across in a crowded world of digital channels and email and social and everything else. Direct mail really does seem to be standing out and being leveraged by more and more market-leading marketers today. We just see so many examples. And even just this morning, there was a MarTech vendor that was talking about creating a video channel where he will basically start to unbox essentially some of the direct mail packages he's getting that are clearly having an impact. You wouldn't create a channel like that unless there was sort of some interest and differentiation around. We don't see that with email or social very often. But what happens over the next several years, or at least the next couple years? I mean, is direct mail going to be cyclical, or are we going to see this sort of kind of wind down again, or what do you see as sort of some of the trend lines moving forward, and how do B2B marketers keep up?
Yeah, so I think we're definitely going to see direct mail adoption continue. I think that as we kind of have a new era of marketers really learning how to do it and how to do it well, I expect adoption as they learn, they get some success with it, to continue. And I think that as marketers, we need to be agnostic about the channel that we use, but religious about the results. And if the results are there and direct mail continue to deliver results, that it will continue to be a growing and channel that's used more and more.
What are a couple examples of programs that you've seen? I mean, we talked a little bit about sort of some integration, either programs that you guys have produced for clients or, as a CMO yourself, I'm sure you're getting some of these in the mail. What stands out from sort of the good to the great here?
Yeah, well, to me, I think the pieces that stand out the most are the ones that are good marketing, right? Because they provide some value to me in something that I might be kind of anticipating because people are really using the data. So it's not just like it may be a new company that I'm not familiar with, but it's around a topic that I have a really interest in at the time. And so some of the little examples I think do a really good job of getting people's attention because they add a lot of value. And so ways you can think about using the data to do that is obviously key. Then there's the kind of the high impact, get people's attention but still deliver some value. And I think some of the fun campaigns that we've seen here at PFL, we've seen account-based marketing programs where folks send a full-size theater popcorn machine with everything it takes to make popcorn to a team, and that's going to get some attention in the office and build some brand awareness, and they're probably going to spend a few minutes and understand what it is your company does with you when you make that sort of impact. So, those are kind of big spectrum of what people send, and that's definitely on the upper end. But other just fun things, are boxes that have, lights that turn on when you open things up. You see people using scratch and sniff pieces and stuff like that appeal to multiple different senses to really stand out in the marketplace.
Awesome. Before we wrap up here, talk a little about the conference coming up. You guys did your first user conference in beautiful Bozeman, Montana last year. I had the honor of speaking. It was a great, great event. I know you got another one coming up here in October of this year. Talk a little bit about that, what people can expect to see at that conference. Yeah,
so our second annual conference, Big Sky, Big Ideas, we're breaking into two parts this year. First part is a user group for prospects and customers of ours who are really adopting these campaigns and great success, for people to really do some workshop-style collaborative work together to figure out how they want to launch their strategy for their next year and their campaigns. And then the next part is we just got a fabulous lineup of speakers. We got Steve Lucas, CEO of Marketo, and Peter Coffey from Salesforce, and Nicole, I'm drawing a blank on her last name, but Vice President of Customer Engagement from GoDaddy, already on the speaker list. And so packed short speeches with just great content, really just kind of framing how can we do better at customer engagement as an industry.
Love that. Where can people find out more about the conference? And I know you guys eat your own dog food, not only with the direct mail packages, but also with great content yourself. If people want to learn more about direct mail, learn about omnichannel integrated programs, and learn more about the conference, where should people go?
Yeah, BigSkyBigIdeas.com. You can find everything you want on the conference. It's also linked to from the site where you can find all of the information Matt just mentioned about direct mail and our software solutions, PFL.com. And so you can find all the information you need right there.
Awesome. Time is up again. We usually, these conversations go so fast, but I want to thank our guest, Daniel Gaugler, who's the CMO at PFL, for joining us talking about direct mail. If you want to share this conversation with others on your team or just listen to it again, you can catch it in a couple days at salespipelinerradio.com. Make sure you don't miss any of our future episodes by subscribing to our podcast at Google Play and the iTunes Store. And you can get a summary and the highlights from this conversation with Daniel at HeinzMarketing.com in just a couple days. Join us next week again, and every week at 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 Pacific. We feature some of the best minds and best ideas in B2B sales and marketing. Until then, for my producer, Paul, this is Matt Heinz. Thanks for listening. Sales Pipeline Radio.
You've been listening to another episode of Sales Pipeline Radio, brought to you by the folks at Heinz Marketing on the Funnel radio channel for at-work listeners like you.